This is the BrainChip Quarterly Investor Podcast. Join us for answers to some of the most frequently asked questions put forward by BrainChip shareholders each quarter. This podcast is for both existing investors and potential future investors who are interested in the development of AI.
Welcome to episode 10 of the BrainChip Quarterly Podcast series. My name is Trevor Franz, Managing Director of Lancaster Grove Capital. My company assists BrainChip with their global investor relations program. Each quarter, we compile a list of the most frequently asked questions by our valued shareholders and put them to a senior executive at BrainChip. Today, I will be talking with BrainChip CEO Sean Hehir. Hi, Sean. Welcome back to the BrainChip podcast to discuss the June 25 quarter and recent developments.
Thank you, Trevor, and welcome to the team. I look forward to working with you.
Thanks, Sean. Sean, the most frequently asked question since I've joined has been about disclosing developments and news on the ASX platform. Could you please explain the continuous disclosure process to our shareholders?
Trevor, thanks for that question. It's one we get quite often here at BrainChip. Let me begin by saying the following. This is a matter that myself and the entire board take very serious, and that we spend a lot of time and energy to ensure that we do this right. I think it's appropriate to start with the definition as well, which is, what is the definition from the ASX on this? And we follow that definition very, very clearly. And really what the definition is, something that only a reasonable investor would require to buy or sell shares. So, but what really behind that question is really another question, because we often get asked, why don't you do things like product announcements or POCs on that platform and market non-price sensitive? And we don't do that for a very simple reason. It's not the intent of the ASX to use it for that reason, and it could be easily construed as potentially ramping the stock, something we do not want to be associated with. I want to be clear, the shareholders own this company. We treat that responsibility with the highest respect. We want to share the facts through the appropriate vehicles, through the ASX when appropriate, and the rest through all the other channels we offer. So when we talk about POCs and potential customers or products, I invite all of our shareholders to subscribe to all of our channels. Look at our newsletter, look at X, look at LinkedIn. You'll find all that information. So in summary, we follow the policies very closely. We certainly want to be very good citizens on the ASX. We want to be good communicators of information to our shareholders. So please use all the channels.
Thanks, Sean. And I'll just add to that in due course, we're also going to put up some more detail on the ASX continuous disclosure issue, and that's going to be up on the investor website. Sean, the other thing that shareholders are obviously very interested in is the progress that BrainChip is making with clients and partners. Are you able to provide some detail on current clients and partners, like, for example, Frontgrade Gaisler, Chalpus Quantum, Hehir Technologies, and others?
Love to. I mean, this is the part of the job I love the most, which is spending some time with prospects, partners, and customers. Take some of the names that you just mentioned. So Frontgrade Gaisler, going very well. I talked to their general manager, I think about a week ago, maybe 5 or 6 days ago, and their tape out is going exceptionally well. I hope our listeners got to see their video they put out, which was really interesting about how they perceive it will be used in space. We talked to their downstream customers as well. You mentioned Chalpus. That engagement is going very, very well. I talked to their CEO 2 nights ago. I could go on about those existing ones, but in addition, we're always about 2 things: advancing those engagements and creating new ones. We've got some ones that we can't announce right now that we're developing as well. And so we believe that we're really at the right place right now, which means we've got the roadmap. I hope all of our listeners paid attention to Dr. Tapson's roadmap presentation back at the AGM, and they get a sense of what we can offer now. Much broader, much richer portfolio than we ever have, and our prospects are reacting accordingly.
That's great. Thank you, Sean. At our recent AGM, at the company's recent AGM, there was a lot of discussion about the possibility of redomiciling to an alternative stock exchange like the US, for example. Please, could you talk about the company's decision to remain listed here in Australia?
Sure. It's something that the board and myself, I'm a member of the board, took very seriously. We looked at all of the options. And we talked to several parties, consultants, attorneys, bankers, and most of all, we talked to many shareholders as well. And we appreciate all their feedback on this topic. In the end, for where we are right now in terms of development of our business and the growth cycle we're at, we believe that the ASX is the right place for us to be. And so we decided to stay. Of course, always things could change later, but right now, this is where we plan to stay for the foreseeable future. I would not be complete in my answer if I didn't say the following. We here at BrainChip and myself personally are very appreciative of our loyal shareholders, and that was factored into this as well. The Australian shareholders and our current shareholders have been very loyal to us, and we felt that that was important as well.
That's great. Thank you, Sean. And obviously the company talked about that in the recent quarterly activities report. The other question we get from shareholders is just really relates to the company's cash position and sort of funding requirements. In the June 25 quarterly update, BrainChip ended up with a cash balance of US dollars 13.5 million. How do you think about BrainChip's capital position, and sort of any comments on that you could make?
Sure. You're right. We closed the quarter at 13.5. Since the end of the quarter, we have received from the LDA instrument another 8.2 Australian coming in to our cash position as well. But I would be not complete if I didn't add a little more color commentary to this, which would be one, as the CEO, I am very judicious in how we spend our shareholder money. Let me be very clear. Every dollar we get is targeted at either developing world-class products or developing customer relationships. So I scrutinize every single dollar that goes on to make sure we're maximizing the possibilities for the dollars we do have here. And as you can imagine, the full board is constantly pushing me and challenging me every single day to ensure that I do just what I just said, which is make sure the dollars are properly deployed in the most judicious way.
Thank you, Sean. The next question really that I get quite often from shareholders relates to the company's ability to generate revenues. Obviously, we're on the path to commercialization, and that's obviously a key focus from shareholders. Could you please elaborate on the June 25 quarterly receipts that we had from customers, and any sort of comments you want to make on that question?
Yeah, we're pleased, with the cash position, but we're not pleased with the overall execution. Of course, I expect more, as our shareholders do. What you saw was, some cash coming in, which is great, but what it really reflects is that we're executing exceptionally well on the Air Force Research Lab engagement that we won last winter for the US, of course, which is critical for us, that we need to execute, and we're executing very well. We're hitting all the milestones, so it's indicated by their payments, which are milestone driven. Because it's not only just the cash position from that, but it's really important engagement that we're going to leverage and jump off. The announcements have come out since, of course, that we're working with Raytheon. So you can imagine that that's a really important name in the industry to work with. And so we're using this material, we're using this engagement, and everything we're learning around the whole radar space to develop new engagements. So, we're happy with what we had. Of course, I expect more from the revenue and more cash out of the entire team.
Thanks, Sean. Obviously, BrainChip's technology is a key to commercial success. I've had a lot of questions about patents and how we safeguard the company's AI innovations. So it'd be really interesting to get your view on patents and safeguarding our AI innovations.
It's a great question because it's really, really important. Technology, and quite frankly, leading technology is at the heart and soul of this company. That's what we do. We're a team of mostly scientists and engineers. I think they're the best in the world. We're always looking for the best in the world if you look at some of the credentials. So, advancing technology is everything. Now, once you do that, you have to safeguard it. It's been a tremendous focus for me since I've taken on. We completely revamped the process. We streamlined it. or no, and when I say streamlined, that we're saving costs. When I came in, we've now taken about 35–40% of the cost out of the patent process out, and we're yet not sacrificing on quality. In fact, we're getting more patents, better patents. We ended the quarter with 55. I know we're in the process of doing some filings here soon, some very exciting filings, that more to come. But it's something that we will not ever take our eye off of. It's very, very critical to keep advancing the technology and then protecting with patents. I'm really comfortable with our position and our processes to ensure that we're doing just that.
Thanks, Sean. We also obviously get a lot of questions about just the AI industry in general and the strategic imperative for countries and companies to ensure that they ultimately win in the sector. So it'd be interesting to get your insights on the AI industry just in general, and how you and the company think about AI and how BrainChip fits into that whole sector.
This is one we could talk about for a very long time, Trevor. AI is the greatest productivity phenomena in the history of mankind, greater than agriculture, greater than industrial, greater than information, and the pace of change is it's incredible. I'm sure because of what you do, and certainly what I do, besides my day-to-day interaction with prospects, if you just read a little bit about press, you can see every industry is being affected. Productivity and speculations where this goes, but it's still early. It's incredibly early. Things are going to happen in the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years that we can't even imagine right now. I'm very fond of telling people the following. I've been the CEO of this company now 3.5 years. There's entire model sets or types of models or categories of models now. That models, of course, is the lifeblood that runs on silicon that we create, that are becoming mainstream and prevalent that didn't even exist when I joined. It's just that fast. New categories, new models driving that. There's not an industry in the world that's not going to be affected, Trevor, by this. There's just not. And now it's just a matter of what form it takes. And one thing about BrainChip, I would say, is the following. A lot of the kind of central data center stuff gets a lot of the kind of the headlines because it's kind of glitzy. But there's no question in my mind, and it's happening very quickly, that a balance between data center and edge, meaning doing AI outside, untethered from the cloud, is happening. And that's typical. I'm a multi-decade person in technology career, and that's very typical. All compute models start very centralized and eventually kind of decentralize until you hit that right balance. And I call it the right tool for the right job. And we're seeing that right now, which is workloads are leaving the data center and forcing to the edge. Stay tuned for us. Again, some of you saw some of the stuff on our roadmap. Stay tuned for the second half of this year. We've got some very exciting things that we're announcing that you think about are happening on the edge that were not even possible a few years ago.
Thanks, Sean. I appreciate that's a very general question, but it was really good to get your perspectives. Sean, BrainChip shareholders, and we have over 40,000 shareholders, are obviously, very keen on updates from the company. So I just wanted to sort of ask you, what are the key ways we keep our shareholders informed?
Trevor, it's very important to me. I think anybody who's met me, from our shareholders, and I've met many of them over the years, realized how serious I take my responsibilities to be responsive and listen to feedback from our shareholders. It's their company. I believe that we're doing all the things we can and we should, and we'll always look for better ways. Obviously, the addition of yourself is a very good proof point. You're a leader in this space. We wanted some leadership, and we've got you here, and we're very excited to have you. But we do all the right tools. We have a newsletter monthly. We do a QAR course, 4C. We do these podcasts. We've done our new revamped website. I know you're busy working on a schedule for me right now for certain kind of engagements with analysts and others. So we do that. In addition, we put out a lot in our social media and a lot in our PR. Now, I know our Australian shareholders really look for more traditional stuff, but when I say traditional, maybe ASX, but you look at the totality of our communication, it's pretty comprehensive. Of course, we take any feedback if there's other things we can do, withstanding particularly the conversation you and I had around continuous disclosure. But we believe we got a very comprehensive set of activities here to keep everybody updated.
That's great. Thanks, Sean. Shareholders also are obviously interested in the marketing efforts that the company undertake, and we ran through, the activity that Steve and yourself and other members of the team have been involved with over the last quarter. But I thought it would be good just to get some comments from you on the company's, view on sales and marketing and that process in terms of undertaking our path to commercialization.
Well, I've talked a little bit about this many times about the sales process, about how the process works, which is, it starts with customer interest. You got to remember our customers, when they buy something from BrainChip, it's a strategic decision for them. It's not a consumption for them. They're basing their products, their revenue streams on our technology. So the process goes through an awareness, a kind of a technical evaluation, long-term design in kind of process. But I think you were asking a little bit more about the marketing activity. And I'm just, we do a lot. Obviously, I won't recap them all, but I want to call to light just something we did this week, which is really, really important for us, which is we put up something called the Aikita Cloud. And so what we have here is our second generation Aikita up and available with our models, and more models coming here soon for people to come and try. We're very proud of this product. The improvements, Aikita 1 is very, very good at what it does, but it was limited in some cases. But the improvements in Aikita 2 are great. We talk about a 4x improvement in terms of performance, broader model support, broader functionality. So that's probably the most important thing right now going on around marketing, the ability for prospects, quite frankly, to log on, try their models, get their results, and help them their evaluation. So we're very excited about this and the possibilities that it can mean.
Thank you, Sean. Lastly, it would be really good just to get any closing remarks you might have on the recent June 25 quarter.
Yeah, it's going to be a little redundant, but I'll say it anyways. Look at the roadmap that we presented in May. I feel really good about where we are. It's in the best shape we've ever been. We are never satisfied. Let me be clear. That roadmap will continue to grow and evolve. So we're making tremendous progress on the commitments that we told our shareholders in May. So the roadmap is progressing incredibly well. And what we're seeing is people reacting to that. We're seeing people react to everything that we're putting out here. So I'm as bullish and excited about the future as I ever been since I joined BrainChip, because customers are reacting to what we have in the portfolio right now.
Thanks, Sean. It's been a pleasure talking with you today.
Thanks so much, Trevor, and I look forward to many more in the future.
That's great. And thank you, everyone, to all our shareholders. And as I said, we have over 40,000 shareholders. We really value your support. Thank you very much for listening to episode 10 of the BrainChip Investor Podcast with my guest, CEO Sean Hehir. Thanks for listening and have a great day.
Thank you for listening to the BrainChip Quarterly Investor Podcast. Please remember to rate and review on your favorite podcast platform. You can always learn more at brainchip.com.